like during the nighttime, I won't go to bed until like at least 12 or 1. So my parents, after hearing this talk, are definitely going to be pushing me to go to bed at 10 p.m. All right, our next talk is Matt Fouts, here with the value of sleep.
All right, it's no secret that many of us don't get enough sleep. We've all spent the night up late watching TV, or doing homework, or just staring at our phones. These days, sleep is something that many of us don't give a second thought. We brush it aside as a waste of time, time that could be better spent being social or productive. This is very much becoming the modern view of sleep, something that gets in the way of progress and success. Thomas Edison, one of the great inventors of our time and the inventor of the light bulb, called sleep a criminal waste of time and a heritage from our cave days. I'm sure you've all heard the motto, sleep is for the weak. And it's not just the thoughts around sleep that have changed. Data suggests that in the 1950s, we Americans were getting an average of 8 hours of sleep a night. A new poll in 2013 found that average has fallen to just 6.5 hours. Now, what I want to do today is explain why this is such a dangerous trend and hopefully change the way you think about sleep. See, the reality of the matter is that sleep is far from a criminal waste of time. It's a vitally important behavioral process, and we must take it seriously. And I want you to understand why. See, as our society is sleeping less and less, neuroscience is understanding more about the reasons that sleep is so important. Reason 1, bolstering the immune system. Lack of sleep, quite simply, destroys your body's ability to defend itself against common infections. This can be seen in how a sleep-deprived body responds to vaccines. In 2003, a study was conducted where 2 groups of college students were given hepatitis A vaccinations. One group was allowed to sleep normally, and the other group wasn't allowed to sleep until the following night. When blood samples were taken 4 weeks later, they found that the sleep-deprived group had 97% lower antibody levels than the group that slept normally. 97%. In a separate study, adults were given hepatitis B vaccinations over the course of 6 months. What they found was that those who averaged less than 6 hours a night during just the first week of the vaccination process were likely to have such low antibody levels that they could be considered unprotected from the virus. So clearly, sleep plays a pivotal role in allowing our bodies to protect themselves from harmful infections, and it goes beyond vaccines. In a study published in the journal Sleep, researchers had participants keep a sleep journal for 7 days and then expose them to samples of the common cold. They found that those who averaged less than 6 hours a night were 4 times more likely to contract a cold after the exposure. Reason number 2, memory consolidation. Modern research suggests that sleep is a time when the brain works to consolidate the day's experiences into long-term memories. A full night of sleep after a day of learning has been shown to lead to the selective stabilization and strengthening of the neural pathways associated with new memories. In a study conducted by leading sleep researcher Robert Stickle, he showed volunteers words with either a positive, neutral, or negative connotation, and then gave them a surprise memory test the next day. He found that those who were sleep deprived were 40% less likely to remember any given word than the group that slept normally. Essentially, when you don't sleep enough at night, your brain doesn't have the time to consolidate the day's experiences into long-term memories. Reason number 3, your mood. Multiple studies over the past 25 years have found that poor sleep can lead to depression severe enough to be clinically diagnosed as major depression. In 2012, the CDC released a study that found that men and women with sleep apnea, a disorder that interrupts sleep throughout the night, were respectively 2.4 and 5.2 times more likely to be diagnosed with major depression. This is believed to be linked to the memory consolidation idea I mentioned earlier. In Stickle's memory study, he found that while fully rested individuals remembered positive and negative words about equally, sleep-deprived individuals were twice as likely to remember a negative word than they were a positive one. In other words, when you don't get enough sleep at night, you are far more likely to remember the negative experiences from your day than the positive ones. Reason 4, weight gain. Obesity is becoming a serious health problem in our country, and poor sleep isn't making it any better. study conducted by Carrie Spiegel at the University of Chicago found that after 2 nights of restricted sleep, study participants' ability to clear glucose, or study participants had significantly increased of the appetite-stimulating hormone ghrelin and decreased levels of the hormone leptin, an appetite suppressant. Unsurprisingly, study participants reported an average 23% increase in feelings of hunger. A separate study conducted by Spiegel and her colleagues found that after 5 consecutive nights of restricted sleep, men's ability to clear glucose from the blood was severely diminished by 40%, putting them at a significantly greater risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Taken together, these studies show a clear link between sleep deprivation and potential for obesity, a conclusion now supported by over 50 other clinical studies. This conclusion is also supported by real-world data. Research among adults shows a 50% increase in obesity rates among adults who sleep less than 6 hours a night. Reason number 5, impaired cognition. A full night of sleep has been shown to greatly enhance our ability to come up with creative solutions to complex problems. In fact, the advantage has been estimated to be up to 3-fold. Now, while a full night of sleep comes with cognitive advantages, those who do not sleep enough see massive cognitive penalties. Poor sleep has been shown to impair judgment, reasoning, concentration, and a host of other cognitive functions. These cognitive disadvantages can even be deadly. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that over 100,000 car accidents every year can be attributed to tiredness. Investigations into the events of the Challenger space shuttle in Chernobyl found that both disasters could be attributed to poor judgment caused by lack of sleep from extended shift work. So at this point, you might be wondering, am I getting enough sleep? Well, that answer can vary from age group to age group and even person to person. Generally speaking, adults need 7 to 9 hours a night for full brain performance, and teens need at least 9. Unfortunately, we teens have it the worst. While we need at least 9, the average teen only sleeps 5 hours a night, amplifying all of the ill effects that I've discussed so far. Additionally, teens have a biological disposition to go to bed late and wake up late, yet we're expected to be at school earlier than any other age group. So what can you do to ensure that you get enough quality sleep? Well, the first thing you can do is limit your caffeine intake. Caffeine is a stimulant that fuels many of our days. It works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain, which inhibits feelings of tiredness, but you're still experiencing all the ill effects of sleep deprivation. So if you must have that cup of coffee in the morning, try not to have it too late in the day because it can also impair your ability to sleep at night. Reduce your light exposure at least half an hour before bed. The last thing many of us do before going to bed is check our cell phones, which is the absolute worst thing we can do because the blue light the cell phone screens tells our body clock that it's time to wake up. Lastly, try to avoid brain-stimulating activities too late in the day, such as homework or video games, because these activities excite the brain and can make it more difficult to fall asleep. Sleep is not something that we can continue to disregard as a waste of time. If you forego your body's natural need for sleep, you'll be left with more than just a mildly impaired brain. In addition to that tired feeling we all know, you'll be at a greater risk of being sick, forgetful, unhappy, overweight, and uninspired. We must, as a society, take sleep more seriously.